I'm looking forward to seeing what their take on Weibo is going to be in this final matchup.
Yeah, and I think this is just really unlucky for both of these teams. They're potentially the two best teams in this 1-in-1 pool, and they have to play against each other. So I think we definitely saved the highest quality gameplay for last.
Absolutely. That's what I would expect, at least. We'll see how this game does pan out, as already the Xayah's going to be taken off the board. Aiming not going to be allowed to play that one. He's great at the Kai'Sa, though, as well, so that's pretty interesting if you're taking away the Xayah, because a lot of teams don't want to pick the Kai'Sa into the Xayah, as the Kalista also going to be targeted in the AD carry pool. Yeah,
Xayah much rarer for aiming to actually pick. Rakan gone for Lehends as well, so targeted twice in this draft. No Alistar, no Rakan. But as you mentioned, aiming much more known for his Kai'Sa. He did defeat D+ with that Xayah pick, but it may be that this Kai'Sa, once again, that he's so known for, finds success. And it is a little bit surprising to see things like the Alistar prioritized over aiming's best pick this year.
Yeah, again, Orianna falls through the pick ban at the moment. I could see Xiaohu picking that immediately in the 1-2 right here. But with Xayah banned, it is a very designed trade. We're seeing more and more of this in terms of just somewhat target banning on the red side and then having more OPs get through. But I look at those bans like Xayah and Rakan being banned is really a hard hit towards aiming and Lehends.
Now we'll see the Orianna come through. Vi being hovered here for Weiwei. Strong mid 2v2 power here and a lot of single target pick. See if this does end up getting locked in. Xiaohu.
Man, how is Rumble just so
keeps
present
coming through.
today?
Yeah, it just keeps coming through every game. It feels like it's going to make it through once again.
And you know it's still available as well as the Sylas. Could be something that they look at. BDD not necessarily known for his Sylas play, but we'll have to wait and see. The Alistar is also banned, so not 100% sure. The Nautilus going to be potentially selected here as a duo partner for the Kai'Sa in the bottom lane.
Now, I think some of the things that BDD considering here, the Sylas you mentioned, definitely a big opportunity, but the Azir, which is also available here, I think is one that has been one of his best picks throughout his entire career. It's one Xiaohu used, actually, in the last matchup they played, where they were, of course, taken out by G2. The Nico here, on the other hand, feels pretty risky. I'd much rather see the Azir. I'd much rather see the Azir.
No.
You still have some time. You can swap. No.
I don't like it, but we'll see, because I just think Orianna, if played well, can just dominate the range in this matchup. It can make it so difficult for BDD to find the right initiation. But we'll see. Azir is right there. I think Azir is a great pick in the situation. We'll see how the Nico works.
And it's BDD as well. I saw Cuz kind of smiling and nodding his head, so there is still potential to have that Nico flex. We did see Canyon play it to an incredible level in the LCK in the jungle, so we'll have to keep an eye on that.
That's a good point, because that is one way I think you can alter this draft and really throw a curveball in a lot of ways. Otherwise, this draft feels very straightforward. It feels very predictable. And I look at, okay, you've got dive, follow-up for Nico ult, you have Nautilus. That feels pretty good. But I'm looking on the other side at Orianna, Rumble, and Jarvan, and I'm like, well, that's just a better version of everything you've locked in right now. So I really hope that KT do have something else to show us here, because Weibo playing as meta as it gets here at Worlds in all S tiers.
Lorella going to be taken off the board. I thought maybe, you know, with already a lot of AD carries banned away, you could potentially target that one, unless we're going to see Orianna bot, which we haven't seen. So let's see where we do go. Will we see more jungle picks taken away? Will they even consider the Nico flex and still ban an Azir or something like that? Would be kind of interesting to have Azir and Nico, a lot of AP already, but let's see where Weibo do want to go. It will be the Nocturne actually taken off the board.
I'm just trying to think what Nocturne is a really good ban there, because Nocturne Nico is a great way to actually bypass the range disadvantage that you have with Nico. Team Comp's not going to make that much sense if they do throw Nico in the jungle, because they like Azir Jax would have to be their top jungle, which Azir Nico is a little bit strange. I do think it's mid lane, and I think it's pretty smart that Weibo didn't throw a ban to Azir.
Let's see what Light is going to play here. We're going to get a pretty good idea in just a moment. Well, it might get the support pick first, and that AD carry will continue to be hidden here. But, I mean, Tristana is still available. Zeri is still available. You have so much frontline and just hard engage. And it is going to be more engaged here with this Leona. And Leona is fantastic against Nico. You spot Nico on a flank, you just toss in the Solar Flare, you follow up with Zenith Blade, boom, that Nico flank, shut down completely, and you can just turn onto the Nico so easily. I really like the Leona here for Crisp.
Yeah, and I think Crisp is also an OG Leona player. It was one of his big picks when he won the 2019 World Championship on FPX. Now this would be...
That would probably be for Keen, by the way.
Yeah.
If it is Ryze, he plays Ryze top. He's one of the only players who does. Singed, a hover, a tease.
All right, Lehens, we see ya.
I mean, I don't think there's any world where we see Nautilus mid, Nico jungle. I mean, you have Viego locked in. Like, what he's just trying to get cheers from the crowd. Cassante gonna get locked here as the final pick. Gives you a front line. And I mean, if you can layer Nico's ult into Cassante Q knockups, you have the Nautilus, and then Kai'Sa follows up. And there's a world where you get a single pick, Viego resets. But on the other side here, I mean, Sivir is going to give you so much map control. You have so much wave clear and great follow-up for those engages.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to fall behind the Kai'Sa individually, but for the team comp, it's actually very good. Another thing that can just silence the Nautilus ult a little bit if you keep your range. It's really good against Nico if you just wait for it to pop up in the air to reduce the burst damage. So I am a big fan of the Weibo draft so far.
I really hate to say it, but I think KT's comp in isolation on its own is not a bad composition. If you ended up getting this because you took away so many power picks from Weibo, I look at KT Rolster and say, well, it isn't as meta as some of the other comps we've seen in this tournament, but it's got single target, it has resets for Viego. But Weibo just got the top tiers. They have such great answers to the Nico engage as well. I really have to lean in their direction for this final draft.
Yeah, I'd say, if anything, the bot lane of Weibo is heavily deprioritized. Sivir Leona is not something we've seen that much of, whereas Kai'Sa Nautilus seems very cookie cutter for the World Championship. And KT, if they do get ahead, have a lot of ability to pull the trigger and engage fights. So that individual skill of KT, can they just outlane Weibo, get a big lead, then with these two team comps, both of them just go in. So we could see a snowbally game here.
Yeah, I mean, KT Rolster, one of the teams we had in summer as the most dominant, right? This team was just on a huge roll. They kind of fell short when it came to playoffs, but these guys do know how to kind of win lane and then go from there and win game. We'll have to wait and see how proactive Lehens as well is on the map. He might be a pretty important piece of the puzzle if he does end up going to mid and trying to make some plays as well.
It is a really tense one for KT. D+ already dropped down. KT, you drop down here, you're 1 and 2. It's really important for the LCK region as a whole to take this win.
We'll see who ends up with it. Fan cheers are out here for KT with the home crowd. I heard some scattered cheers for Weibo as well.
They're certainly not the home favorites, but they've got their fans here as well.
Absolutely. And guys, you can connect to your League of Legends account with Prime Gaming to grab the exclusive experimentation emote. It's very fiery as well, as I would expect this game should be.
Yeah, Light might be flashing that a little bit with the Sivir. It's not necessarily fully experimentation, but it is definitely something we haven't seen much of here at the World Championship. As they mentioned on the analyst desk, Light and Crisp really dominated the lane in their early victory against Energy. Never know.
It's rare to see the teleport on the Rumble these days because obviously you have the Ignite kill pressure in a lot of matchups, but into Cassante in particular and with Viego as well, there's a little bit of a riskier choice. I actually prefer the teleport in this scenario for the Shy because it's going to allow him to return to lane very easily, can be a little bit more of a side lane threat, and then come back to team fights later on. He's going to trade aggressively here nonetheless, but that kill pressure just not so much there in this matchup.
Nice dodge from the Shy. Definitely going to be keeping our eyes on this one. Keen versus the Shy. Definitely a couple of guys that can look to try to dominate lane and be very aggressive. And we've seen what this Cassante can do as well. Don't be fooled. He's, not always the guy just sitting back, tanking up for the team. Sometimes he's the one going the deepest, even with the other champs in the lineup.
Yeah, I don't see much about these early jungle paths other than they're matching different sides. I think the Shy's going to have way up top when he needs it. So Keen has to be a little careful not to get too poked out as the Shy pushes this wave in. Otherwise, he could try and prep that wave for an early dive.
Yeah, certainly could. is controlling this very well. Weiwei pathing top side here, and that is, of course, going to give them the numbers advantage. Down here on the bottom side of the map, Aiming and Lehen's hitting level 2 first. Gonna break through some of those minions, and my concerns with KT's comp, and not how it's going to function in the early game. It's not how it's going to function in team fights per se. It's just simply that there are ways to shut down what their composition does best. And I think Crisp is going to be a huge aspect of this. I think Xiaohu is going to be a huge aspect of this, because what Nico needs oftentimes is either a front line to set her up to ult, or map control, or a flank, right? And flanks are where she is going to be at her most vulnerable against Weibo's composition. If KT fall behind, then BDD's life is going to be very difficult when he wants to do his job.
Yeah, and there's so many things that can mark him as well. Like if Crisp finds him on the outside, he'll just initiate on him straight away. And like, Casante's another champion who, like, yes, he's kind of a frontline, but he's a bit of a flanking tank. Yeah. So very, very high. We just keep talking about how high the barrier of execution is for this KT team composition.
Yeah, it definitely is. Just talking about Lehen's getting active on the map, level 3, trying to make a play, or at least support on the top side of the map, and maybe make this a double scuttle angle for Cuz. As we do see the positioning of Weiwei, they have identified that he's gone blue to red into the top side of the map, and that ward is going to spot him out as well. We'll see if King can stay safe, or if Weibo will pill off a good gank and a dive, but it does look like Keen is just going to get out, and that's double scuttle to Cuz.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Lehen's escorting this through. Of course, seeing Weiwei topside means that Cuz knows he can pull this off, will rush it down, and then Lehen's will return to lane. We have a later back there on the bottom side of the map. Very quiet early game here, as you know, compared to especially some of the games we've seen this tournament where it's action all the time.
And KT, as well as Weibo, are in a precarious situation. I think for KT, it would almost be more tragic if they lost this game to fall to 1 and 2, just because of what they've been through since the summer split ended. They were the #1 seed in the LCK playoffs. All 5 of their players were first-team All-Pro. They decide to play against T1 when they can choose their opponent. They lose that one. It drops them to the #3 seed. That #3 seed leads them to these ridiculously difficult draws that they've had so far here. And they're just such a good team, but they've been, like, all of their losses, well, have been really close losses, right? Even the T1 losses, they were losing in game 5s.
Yeah, that Guma-Xayah game, you know, that game could have gone either way. It was so incredibly long, one of the craziest games of our entire LCK split, if not the craziest, and one of the crazier series, like straight up. And I mean, KT have been on the cusp of greatness for so long as an org. I mean, it's been so many years since they've even been here at Worlds, and to drop down to 1-2, you know, with D+ already falling early, it really would be such a tragic way for the LCK to have 2 weaker representatives as well. Not saying it's over. It's never over till it's over, but it says a lot about the region.
Here comes Lehen's. He's going to hit that hook on a light somehow through the Leona, it felt like, as Cuz is here.
All right.
But at the end of the day, I think they realize, okay, they can't really get much out of this, and we do see Weiwei out of vision trying to make his way down here, as well as BDD in the river. A lot of tense moments so far in this one. It is certainly a bait, it feels like, for both sides. Although now they should be able to ping that BDD is not here, you would imagine. But Weibo are sticking around, and they're going to get engaged on. Is now Lehen's. That's going to be first blood going the way of Weiwei, but he will immediately be taken down in the trade.
That's like putting your hand as bait when you're catching a fish, like a really, really powerful fish, maybe shark bait. Not a great idea, because it's going to cost you maybe more than the reward. Giving away first blood to Weiwei to only get the counter kill on Cuz, not necessarily worth it, because you also lose the mid lane push to Xiaohu. Nice play by Weibo.
That was a really nice play from Weibo. Good reaction from Weiwei, identifying that he could, you know, force this to be their first pick there, and was likely going to die either way. But really quick reaction time there. No expending of his flash either.
And Lehen's is level 4. He's like, okay, oh, there's 2 Lehenses now. That's BDD. As Weiwei's just going to get out. Weiwei would just love to get 1 Scuttle Crab, but so far it's 3 for 0.
Power farming Viego is a scary thing. Getting those additional, you know, camps is going to get him closer and closer to that first item. As we'll watch this again. BDD coming down here. They have a control ward. Crisp gets rooted, and then instantly Weiwei just identifies, like, I'm not getting out of here. Yeah. BDD is missing. He's going to ult me, so I'm going to trade this back 1-for-1. And he gets first blood.
Yeah, really good burst. Absolutely worth it for someone who didn't get any Scuttle Crabs. That's going to equalize his gold fairly close. He's only 200 gold down despite losing all 3 Scuttle Crabs. And I think we agree, Weibo probably has slightly better late game team fighting. So if they can just go even in these early laning phases, they're going to be pretty comfortable.
This one is going to get pretty interesting. Now it's Crisp's turn to be out on the map, but BDD looks like he does feel that pressure and moves to the left side of his lane just to make sure. His top lane has looked pretty contentious as well as Keen. This time maybe looking for the angle. He is going to go all out now. Hits the Q3 onto the Shy, who doesn't have his flash, and everybody is here. We got 3 members of KT trying to get on top of the Shy, and they will be able to take him down. BDD picks up a kill.
This is huge. I mean, that's going to be a big momentum shifter here in this one, especially if you consider how ahead the Shy was in farm. He's taken out here, and finally, you put BDD on the board here with Cuz picking up a kill, and gold lead goes into KT's favor, but it's plays like this that make you feel KT knows so much their win conditions, and if the Rumble is way too far forward, they have great single target pick. We've talked about it so much since the draft.
Yeah. The Shy gets the minions. KT gets his life, and then it looks like they're trading neutral objectives. Rift Herald for the first Chem Tech Drake. Good start to what we're hoping is a banger game.
Yeah, definitely a pretty sizable lead after that one to the side of KT, but we talked so much about what Weibo's comp can do, so definitely not down and out at this point by any means in this game. As here's BDD, or is it Lahens? Does Weibo have any idea about this very tricky play? Very, very tricky. They have no idea! They both get caught by it. The double root comes in. Will anybody actually go down? It's aiming! Will assassinate Chris.
What an incredible play! He comes down, disguises himself as Lahens, not only hits the ultimate there, but then gets the double root, and they have enough damage, aiming on the follow-up on his signature Kai'Sa, and KT, they strike back a second time in this game.
And we'll see if Weiwei can counter this.
Yeah, he's gonna flash on in and trade flashes, but Lahen's still here. It doesn't look like aiming's getting up, and the damage is going in onto Weiwei. Can they trade it back? Yes, he will! As the kill will go, but it's traded as Light will take him down and take control of this lane.
I really want to see that BDD play again, and I can imagine it from Weibo's perspective. So some people are wondering, why didn't they realize that the mid laner wasn't missing? But look at what they do here. This is basically Lahens backs up, and it's like he just walks behind a door and comes back through the door again. So you're not going to suspect it. It's not like there's 2 Nautilus on the screen. And look how far back he's staying as well. So it seems like exactly the same duo lane gets in range to ult both, and they can secure the kill.
And it's so critical that he hits the double root there to keep them in place to do that additional damage. Now Weiwei comes down here, and aiming does have flash, didn't have to use on the previous play. Also, Lahens hits level 6 and has ultimate. They pop the passive onto Weiwei, and aiming just barely is able to trade this kill back.
Meanwhile, Lahens, he's doing Lahens things. He's in the mid lane, trying to make some plays. It's not going to amount to too much. And Xiaohu's just going to walk that one out.
BDD hasn't used the cannon minion yet, so he really trusts their ability to count minions, but I mean, they can count Nautilus as well, too. They're just not showing 2 of them at once. I just love that BDD play. That was so good.
KT with some tricks in this tournament. We saw the fake dragon by Lahens just a few days ago. Really kind of bring a unique flair that we don't always see from KT. It's normally Keen who brings that type of new champion, new strategy. But it's been everywhere else. We're seeing it from KT here at Worlds.
And this gold lead has actually gotten pretty big. 1,700 gold right now. A lot of plates in the mid lane. Looks like that's where they used the Herald. So BDD still does have a lot of threat with Keen being in the river right now, making it difficult for Xiaohu to push up on this Orianna. So far, making us eat our words a little bit, this Neeko has looked great in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, if you can have this much of an impact, which is not necessarily what we normally see, it can certainly turn the tides of the game as we see this player matchup between Cuz and Weiwei. Cuz able to get 3 Scuttle Crabs early on, able to affect that bottom lane, and has been catapulted into a 92 CS position.
Yeah, and again, a really high-pressure game. Sure, every game of the World Championship is high pressure, but when I think, you know, it says LCK3 versus LPL4, I just feel like KT is probably under much more pressure. Like, the expectations of being an LCK team and not making bracket stage, like, in Worlds history, 12 years of Worlds, only 2 Korean teams have ever not made it out, as we might have a fight in River.
Well, really wanting that Scuttle Crab as Ingo BDD catches 2 of them, and the teleport flank from Keen is perfect. Where did that ward even come from? Big equalizer, though, from the Shy. Can they turn this one around? He's doing insane amounts of damage as KT fight on it, but it doesn't matter. It's a double kill over to Keen. And here comes Cuz as he's looking for more, but it will be the Orianna W to slow them down.
And it's in these choke points where KT are finding the angles for BDD. They're using the front line incredibly well. Cuz comes through, buys enough space for BDD's flash engage. He does end up going down at the end of the day. Ooh, light. We'll get out of there. But KT are picking this team apart. And yes, the Shy comes through. He's also fighting in a choke point. He's Rumble, so he's going to do a ton of damage here. But it looks like you have numbers advantage here as Weibo. But look at this. BDD, once again, disguised as Nautilus, is going to get the flash engage. Cataclysm here, not going to do anything for you. And then Cuz can get into the backline. Crisp is kidnapped by Keen. And if the Shy is better set up here, if Weibo play this slower, maybe you get the damage done and you can front to back this, but they just get jumped on. And KT, we didn't trust this comp would always work, but they are being so proactive with it.
Exactly, and since both teams have so much engage, we did think there was a high possibility of this game snowballing. So if KT can get a big advantage early, as they have, that's their window, because what does Weibo do to win this game? They engage. But if BDD's super fed, if Cassante and Viego are super fed, you engage first, you just give Viego that reset.
Lahen's just going for a little walk here, doesn't seem to care.
Wow.
Now he's going to turn it onto Weibo, understanding that they could be there and totally turning the tides. That's another kill into the hands of aiming.
That is the most agile Nautilus I have ever seen. He tap danced around all of those engages and immediately turned it around. That was perfect.
But I think this is an overextension here from Weibo, because you have Drake available, you've got a little bit of control over the river, and look at this. I mean, this is a massive lead across the board here for KT, but you had river control. You didn't have vision on the left side of the Drake pit. You're kind of banking on killing the hens here on this Nautilus when you could have taken almost any other approach. And I think you can really feel the pressure is on Weibo Gaming here.
Yeah.
They want to force these picks even when they don't have full information, and it comes back to bite them.
It absolutely does, as the Shy just kind of hanging out in the top lane for a while. After that one is now Keen looking for another Natofo strike. He is going to miss that one, but he is getting on in there, not able to get him into the wall, but Keen is still going on in. He is pretty confident to look for this kill. The Q is going to miss, though, and Keen will back off of this one. Just a pretty pure run at the guy and try to kill him.
I mean, the Shy really playing on limits there. There were about 2 things that very nearly killed him. If he's a little bit closer to the wall, Keen takes him to his teammates, free kill. If he lands that 3rd Q, it's another kill onto the Shy. So really, the 2 kills that Keen has been able to pick up has put him in a really big power spike right now, where the Shy can't push the way Rumble wants to push. So it makes it really difficult to set up the right team fights.
Yeah, he even grabbed that mid turret. Speaking of turrets, bottom turret completely open here. They're setting up a potential dive, so Light doesn't feel, even with his spell shield here, very comfortable that he can actually hold on to this. They need way more resources. See if they commit.
I mean, the resources are coming down here, but Lahen's is in position.
Gotta be fast.
See, no, he's just gonna hop out of that one as they spot them, and that's that deep vision that Lahen's just put down. Will spot them rotating on over.
Really good restraint. There was a lot of, you spend all that time walking behind the turret, you're thinking the whole time, I'm gonna kill this Sivir, and you know what? Sometimes it's just not worth it, because they're gonna chase him down.
So look at the lack of information here for Weibo to everyone else being on the left side. They have control over the river. They could have kited back and gone for Drake, but they decided to go for Lens. His sidestep is great, but you don't have follow-up onto a Nautilus. Maybe you catch a Squishy, maybe you catch Kai so you could burst her down, but unfortunately that play was just not meant to be. And that's the turret down now as well. Mid-turret down by Keen. Bottom turret taken out by aiming, and this gold lead, it was small, now it's ballooned.
Yep, and KT is in their comfort zone. Aiming currently 7,000 gold at 16.5 minutes. Mythic complete, so Ginsu's and Stormrazor, the first player in the game to reach 2 items. That's the way KT likes it. Get the resources on aiming and let him cook.
Yeah, and this is a guy that, you know, over the years and over, you know, the spring season wasn't really the guy to look for, but really stepped into his own in playoffs. And now, when it comes to this big pressure stage that we've been talking about, they rely on him. They say, okay, you're going to be the carry. And he has so much gold. I wouldn't be surprised if he does exactly that. Also, because so far ahead, this isn't like a low-damage jungler. This is a Viego with 137 CS, who's near 2 items himself. As now, the Shy is in a lot of trouble. Do they have the damage? Those Leona ult is going to zone aiming quite a bit as now Lahen's on the run here. Cuz does come in and the TP, and everybody on KT is here as the Sivir is nowhere near. So it's just going to be KT taking a free kill.
I don't care if it's a Leona with Eclipse, it doesn't matter. I don't care if that's your turret. I'm going to make it happen.
Here they go.
Okay, they're going to spot him. That is BDD, not Keen. But meanwhile, it's just, you know, Wei going in, face shaking in the jungle. It's going to be another turret that goes down to the Rift Herald.
This is a massacre for KT so far. That's a 7,000 gold lead at 18 minutes. Weibo just do not have any answers. KT is so coordinated. They are moving around the map so well. It is moderately exciting for KT fans to see the 7,000 gold lead.
No, I was telling you guys the reason why we had to be so negative about KT's draft is we just didn't want to get excited in any way. But look at that gold difference over time. You mentioned it, 7,028, the peak of it in this game. Cuz has now picked up his second item here, the Cleaver in pocket. One needlessly large rod here for BDD, who hasn't picked up that many of the kills this game. It's been mostly aiming, who secured those with his Qs, with his ults to follow up on those good engages. And for Weibo here, there is a path back in. It's not completely doomed, but it is going to rely on very slow and patient play here, and they very likely are just going to simply have to give this dragon up. Now look at the Shy, ulting to clear this wave to try to keep the turret alive, but it's hopeless. It's doomed. Lens is on top of him, and there's just nothing he can do. He goes very, very low, and then Chris tries to turn this, which is, you know, you have an Orianna nearby, maybe you can pull something off, but unfortunately, he's just alone on the top side.
He absolutely was. Maybe not expecting Lahen's to be quite that deep in his own team's jungle, but Lahen's will do that. He will find that angle. Still just level 8. He's looking to actually get in onto Wei, who just immediately flashes out. He doesn't want any piece of that. It's now Xiaohu in a little bit of trouble. It is going to be another flash garnered as the follow-up comes in, and there is the auto. But they can't quite follow up on Xiao. That is a lot of stuff just thrown into an Orianna that they do not get. The equalizer is perfect. It totally zones KT into this fight. And chat, what have you done? KT, somebody got excited for these guys as they have gone way too deep. And the Hens is going to get caught off as well. Keen, okay, it's got a very nice angle. As I immediately counter curse it, Xiao, who's looking for a little bit more. Keen is alone. 1v3 and down he will go. And Weibo Gaming have turned this game around.
I got a little enthusiastic, I'm sorry, but currently Weibo does know how to fight. KT just expended so many cooldowns without actually getting a kill onto the carries, and that is a massive turn for Weibo.
So KT's game plan here, Drake is up. They decided Weibo not going to fight this. They're going to play top side. We're going to group and match them. Look at the map control they have right now, KT, to try to force this. They also have bottom side control. Instead of just taking the free Drake here, they want to further their lead, and they way overcommit into a team that has insane turn. You are Kai'Sa aiming. You're not going to be able to turn and burn this one, unfortunately, and KT are just forced away. Really nice ults here by Weibo, but we have to really emphasize KT could have just taken the free objective with the map control they had. They wanted to push their lead even further and not give Weibo the opportunity to trade that for top turret, get any additional farm, but they got punished.
Got to really worry about the slingshot here as well because objective bounties are up. The Mountain Drake, are objectives up? Bounties, I think they fell.
They were.
They were up, but they fell, which is beneficial for KT as they can just move towards this Mountain Drake. 5,000 goal lead. Still very strong position in the game. The fear, though, would be the 202 Orianna and the 204 Sivir because they have the potential to kite back and outrange the hard engage of KT.
Yeah, that's what Sivir can do that Kai'Sa won't be able to do. We talked a lot about in our previous game. I mean, Kai'Sa does have strong damage output, Rage Blade stun, but the Sivir is just going to speed up the entire team, allow you to follow up and chase, and then just do free damage from range. And she'll quickly rip through Cassante's health bar once she gets that third item online.
she definitely will. I think that KT, after that play, they're like, okay, let's hold our horses a little bit, take the objectives now. And they do get that Mountain Drake, as well as clearing out entire vision over the Baron. They certainly do have a comp that could potentially try to rush this one down. Their turn is very nice, what with the Nico and the Nautilus. And you've also got that extra damage from the jungle as well with this Fed Viego. So something that they could look for. We'll have to wait and see if they do.
I think if they are to do that, they don't want BDD in the pit. I'd love to see him hiding around as Cassante in the jungle or something, because the whole purpose of the Baron in this case would actually be to flip it, but it's mainly to get Weibo to close the gap. So put them in a situation where they're not outranging or wave clearing, because it will be a little bit tricky for KT to get them into that spot.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about Orianna wave clear, Sivir wave clear, these are some of the best wave clears you have in the game. Rumble, nothing to shake a stick at either. So KT need to try to maintain as much of that control as they can. They've gotten vision away here of the Baron pit. This is massive. This allows them a little bit more freedom to set up for that BDD engage you were talking about. Keen has teleport, so he can join this fight. Shy does not, so he's going to back right now and head towards the Baron pit. This does open up a huge opportunity for KT to find those engages. They're still massively ahead in gold here. They need this Baron win to solidify the position once again.
Yeah, and I think for Weibo, they're just waiting for KT to overextend again. If they have vision on the Baron, they know they're not starting it, they can wait for them to extend into the jungle, where Weibo do have current control over the map, even though it is a small slice. Could be enough for them to take a fight. But let's see, as KT are hovering around this Baron and considering it, that's going to spark a blue trinket ward to come out.
Basically, that control ward right next to Crisp is what Weibo needs to be able to hold. If they lose control of that area, it becomes much easier for KT to be able to start the Baron.
Yeah, speaking of, Cuz going to come over here, clear this ward with a sweeper, then we'll be able to take out the control ward. He doesn't need the sweep as the sweeper expires. Put that mist around. Keen continue to push. The Shy does have his teleport back up now, so can match Keen's push here and then join the fight. Crisp gonna back here and return. KT have decent damage with this composition, but remember, this is a Nico sitting on 1.5 items right now, so it's not like you can rush this Baron down by any means.
Well, something that's really cool is Aiming wasn't using any spells on the wave there, so there were 2 Kaises, and it was actually hard to tell, like indistinguishable which one was which until he uses that W. Now they can know, but I think KT is trying to use all these little tricks just to keep Weibo on their, you know, unbalanced.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a tricky team. We see the 80 carry matchup right now, Aiming about 1,200 gold ahead. Some of those extra kills coming into play.
But it is, of course, important to note that these 280 carries do very different things, and that gold gap was much more significant earlier in the game than it is now. If Weibo can get that engage or extend the fight in avoiding KT, you know, the Pop Blossom from BDD or Keen getting a huge knockup.
But Wolf, like, I can't believe how unlucky this KT team is. Like, how is it possible that I say the word excited in Korea on the English broadcast and it immediately pays off? I thought...
What are the chances?
Chat,
that doesn't make sense.
Everybody knows, and you know too. I appreciate you going in on the bit, but KT
I know.
do not.
I'm not a... The thing is, I do this because I'm such a not superstitious person.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I used to be like you before I joined the LCK. I was young once, you know.
Times have changed.
I was a new League of Legends commentator being like, this meme is kind of old and tired at this point.
And then you use it once, and the game immediately stalls?
You realize its power. You gain a new respect.
Because it's
for
really...
the E word.
It's really scary now because KT are having a hard time fighting Weibo, and the Sivir and Orianna are getting stronger and stronger.
It's so difficult for KT to make the call to go in because you only get one chance. You only get one engage, and you have to go all in on it. So even if you have control, if Weibo just kind of wait and sit back, that Sivir's getting stronger and stronger. You've got good wave clear. And, you know, eventually maybe you take a fight on the Dragon instead of the Baron that KT have control over. BDD lurking here, trying to set up for a play. Look at the positioning of Crisp, blocking that engage. We talked about Leona watching those flanks for the Nico, and he's doing it again here.
Kind of an insane just battle here in the jungle, trying to get vision at this point in time, as KT wanted to be really deep if they do eventually go for this Baron. They're no T1 to just kind of send it into a Baron. Yeah. Especially with this Nico.
Aiming is just so fed, though. 3 completed items. I think at this point, KT is taking the conservative approach. They're going to get this 3rd Mountain Drake, start the Soul Timer, because one, they're so burst heavy, if they give Mountain Drakes over to Weibo, they'd actually get outscaled. But two, it's just the correct play because the Mountain Soul will allow them to be a lot more aggressive.
And also, I mean, KT, they had control of Baron. They forced Weibo to clear vision. They come over here. That third item you mentioned for aiming is a very unique spike because it is, of course, the Nasher's Tooth, which is going to allow him to offer a decent amount of poke back. And that's, for the first time, KT actually able to say, all right, we're not just a low-range, all-in, engaged composition. I can slowly chip away at that front line. I can make Weibo Gaming really work to clear that vision and eat some of that damage. And slow playing like this for the Mountain Soul is definitely going to be the better option. Now, Weibo has some opportunities during these moments when the dragon is taken to come over here and try to get some vision back, but they're not going to go too deep for this. I say that.
That's a pretty big ward clear.
Yeah, it is a Jarvan. You can see he's like, oh, never mind, I'm Jarvan, but I don't care.
That's how tense this game is. It is on a 2-hit point ward, knife's edge. You can't commit. You got to get out. You don't have vision, and you just can't clear that vision in the Baron pit. You want to so badly, but you're not going to throw the game over it.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a look at Crisp's items as well. I would love for him to get a Mythic before Weibo do decide to fight in this game, 27.5 minutes in.
Well, I feel like he's probably had to spend so much money on control wards and just replacing them and basing and replacing them as basing because, as we say, like, these brushes in their red side jungle, they're just holding them and they're replacing them over and over. If they ever lose all of the control wards around the red buff, it just makes it impossible to check the Baron. But as of currently, they're spamming gold on control wards, and they've gone triple blue trinket, so they're not walking into any traps.
Yeah, lots of additional armor with the Randuin's picked up here as well for Keen, and I feel like the setup here is quite nice for strong frontline. There's a lot of MR in this comp, even a Verdant Barrier picked up here for aiming. They are going to live through some of those ults, right? If the Orianna ult is huge, you know, maybe aiming actually lives through it, ults, gets his shield up, and does a ton of damage to that Orianna, but they're starting it up finally here. Weiwei, no vision.
Yeah, they finally decide to start it, and right when they decide to start it, the blue trinket comes in. So Weibo know this is happening. Let's see if they can actually get the fight. The turn is coming in from KT Crisp. Has to flash the wall as Keen is looking for more. He catches the rumble, but does not actually get in there to bring him back into the team.
Well, they got to keep the pressure up. They can actually kill that ward because they have to go back and reset the control ward. So they've actually starved out the vision. There's 3 blue trinkets. There's only 1 left from the Shy.
And aiming is...
Aiming is what?
He's going for a little walk on the bottom side.
Is that real aiming or fake aim?
Just hanging out.
It's real aiming, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And, you know, he's going to be crucial. I mean, he's a huge amount of the damage on the Baron. He is also potential vision with his W's to be thrown in. Like, he needs to be there with his team.
I really feel like they could have kept going for Baron there.
Oh,
if
I
aiming,
think so.
If aiming had stuck around, he's all of their damage there. But they got maybe a fight in mid. No flash.
Yeah, he doesn't have his flash. The Q3 will come in. Will they actually commit onto Crisp? No, they will not. But they do get the Solar Flare out.
So they got his flash. Now they've got his Solar Flare. I mean, they are chipping away at the resources here for Weibo quite consistently. They took that vision away too. They're going to clear this control ward here in mid. They have a wave. Lehens controls this brush. They have the red buff, hole as well. And this should be the moment to start this one up one more time. And let's see if Weibo with no vision can force the way through. TP coming out.
Well, they do want to go for the turn here as the ult goes in onto the Jarvan, but that is way too early. Keen level 16 trying to just zone away the entire team. He's done! As the jungler of Weibo is just gone, and Crisp is super low as well. Down will go Lehens, but that should be Baron over the side of KT as Equalizer does go down onto BDD. They want to get a bit more on the side of Weibo as Cuz might just have to sacrifice himself here as the rest of his teammates do get out of the fight.
I mean, this is chaos though. Cuz is on the run. We have Mountain Drake coming up in a minute. Keen is still around. Look how wide we have to go on the camera.
Oh, they got him!
TP!
With the shockwave, and there's the TP as KT thinking about a bit more. They've got aiming here. He does have that killer instinct. The Shy has to be so careful. He is not that tanky. That's where's the damage? Where's the follow-up? It's not coming in. His aiming finally has to flash on into this one just to try to turn it back. But now he's running out of Sivir, and down he will go. It's a huge shutdown into the hands of Xiaohu.
I feel like KT have severely bungled this. They had a lot of control. They did get the Baron, and then they back away and force the fight as Cuz is escaping. They feel like with the pull of the Orianna top side there, they can actually win the bottom side fight there, but it is just not to be. I love how they capitalize on Weiwei using his flag and drag here. They know they can actually burst him down. There's no way for him to get into the pit. He tries to Cataclysm, then they can kite back to the Baron. But it's at the moment the Baron is taken here that things start to go a little bit wrong.
Xiaohu is trying to put Weibo on his back and take them to 2-1. Full health this entire time. Now 5-0 on the Orianna. He chases all the way down just with the very last frame of that. Orianna ult gets the kill, and it's just so chaotic here. Remember, Xiaohu comes all the way back around and actually closes this kill, and it looks like it's also going to give Weibo this Mountain Drake, which is just going to extend the game even more, get you even close to that 500 CS Sivir, the 6-item Orianna, and Weibo is feeling a lot better than they were about 10 minutes ago.
When your abilities are on cooldown as Kai'Sa too, you won't be able to compete with that Sivir. They did kill Crisp there, but you know, Light is able to take him out in turn. BDD teleported in but didn't have ultimate, used it in the previous fight, so he has no damage output, and I think KT used a lot of resources there, ended up losing out. They're still massively ahead in terms of gold here. They are on Soul Point, but Weibo really turned what was a basically game-ending situation into a great one for them in terms of their chances, right? I'm not saying that they've won the game off this play, but their chances are much higher than they were just moments ago, as you can see here. That's a significant dip.
Tiny little dip there on the win probability powered by AWS is, you know, it's giving them a chance.
So,
saying, okay, Weibo are not out of this game.
There are stats and then there are feelings. And I feel like Weibo is not that far behind. I feel like actually KT is in an even game and fighting for their lives right now.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, Xiao, a pretty interesting spot here. He does get the Grom, and he should be okay. That W is going to hit him, but he just backs away to the turret.
Banshee's Veil done here for aiming.
Oh, the play from Lahens! What was that? Right over the wall, and that is a free Jarvan given over to aiming, and that is the jungler now of Weibo Gaming just gone.
Plus 100 gold Baron power play thanks to that kill right at the end. Hey, KT Roaster, but let's see if they can turn this into anything, because it's just so hard to push waves when Sivir and Orianna and Rumble exist. So they do have a temporary 5v4. I believe aiming is going to be able to babysit that wave into the bottom turret, and they should be able to clear one more.
Yeah, Keen helping him out as well, and Cuz coming over to threaten here. Seeing backs in the mid lane from Lahens. Looks like BD considering going back as well to get closer to that Void Staff here for some additional damage. But I think the timing of this Kai'Sa Nico composition's dominance has certainly passed. Not to say that they don't have more money, and not to say that they're not ahead. They still have a decent amount of map control, but the Baron, I think, is almost required to end this game because of the wave clear you're talking about. And now some of the issues we talked about, some of the reasons why we thought KT's comp was inferior to Weibo's, may show up here despite the 7,000 gold lead for KT. I completely agree with you, Jack. This game is much closer than the numbers will show you.
I feel like the Sivir is as strong as the Kai'Sa, and the Orianna is stronger than the Nico. So after that, the feelings go towards Viego needing to get an early reset, because it's actually Weiwei who is the person who ends up being the weakest. And you can see they, again, see him trying to deal with the vision. Flag and drag either miss or interrupt from the Nautilus pull, and it's a one-shot.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to clear the vision, trying to do whatever he can to keep his team alive and scaling. Both of their carries still have not died. Xiaohu and Light are just sitting on 0 deaths apiece. The rest of the team can't really say the same, but the rest of the team just there to support those two, as Light is in a very awkward spot.
It only takes one good fight.
He's, I think he's gonna be okay, just because Cuz can't really attack that by himself. TP from pretty far behind, that's BDD. He's looking for the Shy. He is gonna get this huge burst, and he catches the Rumble, but BDD nearly dies as an equalizer comes in. KT are going very deep. BDD has to try to follow up on this one. Keen just trying to keep this fight alive as Weiwei gets the big combo in, and now they can't overextend into Weibo, as the damage is just huge if you go too far.
Every KT fan was holding their breath going into that choke point. Xiaohu has ult. If the Shy is alive and they hit a big shockwave there with Equalizer, KT are going to be really feeling it, but they do end up getting that pick there onto the Shy. His ult is burned, and you can follow up from here. Teleport from BDD is he's super bold, hoping that they're going to kite back as vision is cleared, and he actually finds it more than just a combo here, a 3-man. He wants to take the Shy out. Now that damage is gone, and even though Xiaohu wants to come in here and set up a ball to get a big shockwave, he's just too late.
Keen just missing that engage onto Light. It's so difficult for them to actually get onto the Orianna or the Sivir. So look at how hard they had to try just to kill Rumble, and now they're down BDD Flash. The stopwatch is burned. He doesn't even have Zhonya's completed. Aiming is actually maxed, so he does not get any stronger. They need to accelerate this game at this Baron or this Mountain Soul. Otherwise, I think Weibo will pull ahead.
Yeah, and then the poke is not how they're going to win this game. I mean, it's going to offer a little bit of damage here, can make the Baron angry in this case, but it's not going to kill anybody.
Wei just trying to start this one up with the team, as he is pretty tanky at this point. He can tank this one, especially with the Sivir. They have so much Baron damage. KT forced into this fight. They do not have a choice. Is Keen looking to follow up on this one? As in goes aiming. Finds Xiaohu, but look at that shield. It's just massive. As now the Shy have gone too far into aiming. He kites it back. There's the W. And Light, they finally take out the Sivir. He goes into GA, and Xiaohu, he's just going to have to abandon ship. They finally get that pick onto the Sivir they've been looking for this entire game.
They want it more. They want to try to get Xiaohu here. I don't think they can catch him.
The game's still not over.
I mean, it's not over yet. The Baron is still up. They have Mountain Soul available as well. 2 massive objectives here for KT. They see Xiaohu's ball is placed, and they're looking to go through it in this fight. As soon as the ball goes down, that's when the call comes through, and Crisp decides that he is just done so. They go over his head. He's trying to peel. Knockup from the Nautilus Soul comes through. Aiming kites back so well, and Xiaohu's out of the fight.
Yeah, I really think Aiming's the MVP of this fight. Being able to get backline access onto Xiaohu pushes him completely out of there, makes it so Light is also in a bad position, and that is the break that they've been looking for. But this Xiaohu guy, he's a demon. If he can actually stop them from getting this Mountain Drake, 37 minutes, 18 deaths for the team, still unkilled. If he can actually get this, it's going to be so close.
Weiwei's close.
Oh, the W comes in with the Kaisa, and that is the smite objective bounty. Oh, God, They got Keen right behind him. They're trying to corral this one as he's got the Shy up against the wall, but the team is so far behind. The all-out comes in. There's the knockup from the Q, and in goes aiming. Immediately the Rumble is popped, and the follow-up comes in from the side of KT. They say they don't need that Mountain Soul. They will just take your lives instead, as the Nautilus ultimate will get Weiwei, and that is a 3-0 as KT looks to push in.
This is insane.
This has got to be it.
This has got to be it. You have to think they've got enough damage to rip through these turrets. We're almost 40 minutes in. There's no way to hold.
Can they end it is the question. The 2 carries, they remain, but the turrets are falling so unbelievably fast, and Xiaohu, he's just 100-0. There is no hope, and KT will get the job done in 38 minutes.
It looked like they had lost control. It looked like maybe we were going to see the comeback, but some clutch plays around those objectives. Look at how exhausted Lehens look as it crosses the stage here to fist bump, because this was a hard-fought win, and that final fight for Aiming, flying over Crisp, assassinating the enemy Rumble, kiting back. That's the kind of play you've got to be making if you are this renowned on Kaisa, and he lived up to it.
That's got to be one of the closest 15,000 gold difference games I've ever seen, because that's what it ended at. 76,500 to 62,000, 38-minute win for KT. And that's a journey. I'm so glad that we get to watch more of both of these teams throughout the World Championship. KT, such exciting games. Nervous, I learned today, is a synonym for exciting, so that explains what's happening with KT Rolster this whole time. Weibo as well, 2 heartbreakers. The close loss they had against G2, and then this draw against KT where they narrowly missed out on holding out for the win, moving to 1-2. What a day.
Yeah, this was definitely one. We weren't 100% sure which direction it was going to fly. But KT Rolster, they get that early lead. Aiming's like, okay, I'm exhausted, time for bed. Definitely did a lot of carrying in this one. But just overall, a great performance from KT. It did take them a while. They had that big overextension